Hi, and welcome to Crypto Crazy. I'm Cal, and today I'm going to talk to you about Conflux. Now, Conflux has been around for a little while, however, it's certainly getting a lot more traction now. It's had investment from Sequoia Capital, which you may have heard of, and I'm going to go into a bit more detail around that. It's got government backing and investment too, and what they're actually doing is pretty great. And as you can see from the screen here, it's talking about it allows secure and interoperable flow of assets and data to create an internet of value for all. And that's very much that it works with various blockchains, it works with different tokens, it will allow them to wrap, and it just creates this whole internet. And I'm going to go into a bit more detail about that in a minute too. So let's just get started with the price and what's been happening. So it's at $1.56, and you'll see the market cap is pretty big, around about 1 billion. And you'll probably look at that and think, well, that's already pretty high. And it has gone up a considerable amount in the last couple of days. It's pretty much doubled. And that's been due to the fact that it just got listed on to Binance today. So it was listed probably about half an hour ago, but then obviously this news comes out beforehand. People do get into it. Before that, it was available in some other exchanges like OKEx, CoinX as well, and some other ones there as well, like you can see Hotbit. Not the ones that people traditionally seem to be registered to, but now it's got onto Binance too. So even though it's got a 1 billion market cap, I do think it has a long way to go. A lot of projects that you do find, sometimes they are great. They have a lot of potential to grow, but they have a lot more risk assigned to them. And I think this one has less risk, which is why it's already at the value that it is. But I still think it's got a credible rate to grow at. So if we just go onto their website and just go into a little bit more detail as to what they do. So what you typically like to see, yes, they're scalable, versatile, secure, and they're the sort of things that you would like to see anyway. And here's where they're talking about in terms of their partners. So they're working with a few, and I think even like Huobi Capital is great, but Sequoia is absolutely amazing. Now, if you don't know too much about Sequoia, here's just went quickly onto their website. Since 1972, they've been working with companies that have had a market value of over 3.3 trillion. So that is a massive amount. And like I was saying, when you just go down here, you'll see companies that you recognize. Like I was saying, Apple there. There are so many others as well, Cisco. And like I said, they have Instagram, Nvidia, Zoom, Airbnb, House. You will see a lot of companies that you do recognize. And the reason being is Sequoia is extremely particular about who they invest with. Usually 2-3 companies a year. So the fact that they're working with Conflux gives me a lot of faith in the fact that they've looked into it. It gives Conflux more credibility too, that they have really delved deep into what they're doing, who they're working with, who the team is, and how they're going about in terms of achieving it too. So I think that is pretty great. So the ecosystem here, so they will allow different projects to work within their platform, and they've got some already working. I think they've got around about 8 projects, and I think this is great. So they've got various sections of it. So here they talk about the Conflux DeFi, and it says that the network is powering open finance throughout the ecosystem of cross-chain protocols, exchanges, and applications. So there's the element of the actual finance part of it. Then it talks about the cross-chain asset functionality. So if you have other various assets, you can have them flowing from one asset chain to another. And again, that's secure, efficient, and simple. So these are great things. And the Due protocol adopts an off-chain, on-chain matching settlement. So if you're off the chain, then it will sync up to the chain as well. And this, I think, is just some great things that they are doing, and the infrastructure as well. I would suggest going into a bit more detail. Obviously, if I did start to read into every single bit of what the different elements are, this video would end up being extremely long. But I do want to bring this to you, do want to give you a slight oversight as to what they have, what they're doing, why I think it's a great project, and that way that gives you a good starting point to look into a bit more detail. So you've got all these elements as well, the ecosystem products. This is what I was talking about in terms of the different projects they have on top of it as well. And one thing that I did also mention as well was the fact that they are working with the Shanghai Chinese government. Now, in the past, what has happened is China generally hasn't allowed any blockchain really or cryptocurrency to exist. Now, here this is an article from CoinDesk, and it just talks about how the Chinese government has changed its mind. So it says the Chinese government doesn't officially allow people to buy cryptocurrencies with cash, and they're working on their own digital version of their currency. But now they have allowed Conflux. So it's the first that they claim, it's the first project that has been officially sanctioned by the Chinese government. And they've even gone as far as investing into it themselves as well. Now, I know some people may not like the idea of that as well, the government being involved, but that isn't that unusual when it comes to China. China does have their government invested in some of their really big companies, and some, whether it's to do with tech or difference, NIO being one, which is their electric cars. They invested in that. Again, it doesn't take anything away from the company. It's just the way that in which China operates and interacts with a lot of their companies. So they've backed this, and they have given their blessing for it as well, which I think is again gives some credibility to this company that China does want it there. But here it talks about it's decentralized as well. So it talks about permissionless. So as it mentions here, the term permissionless indicates that control over the network is decentralized. So they're doing some great things. They're working with some great partners. They've got some great community behind it as well. A lot of people following it. They have listed onto a number of exchanges, like I mentioned just recently, onto Binance too. I do recommend going into a little bit more detail. There is a lot of information when it talks about the developer assets and the technical papers, as I'm just scrolling through here as well, presentations. There's a lot of good information. And cryptocurrency now is just being accepted by more and more platforms. PayPal, Visa have mentioned as well that they'll be accepting them. So it's working very, very well. And Conflux is just creating this wonderful ecosystem in which they will allow tokens to be wrapped. And then it's in the same way that if something wasn't compatible, they would wrap it and allow that to be compatible with another chain. And just in this way, it's almost like everything will work with everything. And that, I think, in itself is a great concept. The fact that they have this backing, I think, is great as well. They have a good team. They've been working hard at this. Like I said, it's not new. It's been around for a couple of years, and that's always good as well. It's not one of those projects that has just started and it's the concept. It is something that has been in motion. They've got Sequoia involved. They've got the Chinese government saying they like the look of it as well. So overall, I think it's great. And I think, like I said, even though it is at $1 billion market cap, there's no reason why this can't go higher. Now, as always, look to what is your strategy. You may look at this and say, that looks a little bit pricey to me. That may tail off a little bit. Now, I can't tell you whether that's going to happen or not. It's hard to know what's going to happen any day within the crypto world. Some days it pumps up, some days it comes down, and we see massive drops. But whatever you see as your entry point, especially for how long you're going to be invested in, if you're going to be in this for the next few years, it won't make too much of a difference whether you bought at 156 or you bought a bit lower here at 1 or 120, 125. If it's for a shorter term, which I generally don't like to go in for, then obviously then it does start to make a bit of a difference. And also you want to see what you are comfortable with as well. So however you want to invest, that's obviously down to you. But overall, I think in the very long term, it's a great project. It's going to definitely, I believe, go up in value manyfold from where it is at the moment and the price too. One thing I also do like about this as well is that it's fully diluted, as in that is the market cap of everything that's going to be there. A lot of projects, they only have a very small amount of coins out there, and then when it does get fully diluted, it goes up a considerable amount in market cap. But this isn't the case. This is at full amount already, so that's one big difference. So there you go. That is Conflux Network. Like I said, it's a great project. Hope you found that informative and useful. As always, if you have, please do give me a like. Do consider subscribing. Do try to bring you as much value as possible. So there you go. I've been Cal. This is Crypto Crazy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.